buddy?
Hi, guys. Well, from Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
And coming up today, we're going to talk about, what, dumb things people believe?
No, we're going to talk about atheists and superstitions that may carry on even after God has left. Even after the Lord has left the building.
You might still believe.
There are things
Some
you might
things.
believe. We're going to talk about things that people we've even known people who don't have a God belief.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you do it?
Yeah.
Do you knock on wood when you're worried about whatever?
Well, we've got a cure for you.
No, we don't. Well, we'll talk about it. We'll get to it. We will get to it.
Whatever.
Start us off. I will talk about Kandil Baloch. That's my best guess as to the pronunciation of this woman's name. She is, I'm going to call her Pakistani Kardashian. She is
Okay.
a social media hit in Pakistan.
A wunderkind.
If you will. She got it the same way so many people get it. She was controversial, to say the least.
And so you say she was a Kardashian. Was she an attractive woman?
A beautiful woman who was a young woman who 25-year-old, willing to show a little more skin than
So this is what I was wondering about.
maybe her Islamic family would be comfortable with.
Yeah.
Was killed this week
Really?
by her brother. Because that's a thing that happens. Honor killings are a big deal in a lot of these dominantly
How does that work exactly?
Islamic countries.
How is that honorable?
Oh, he's protecting the honor of the family by killing the embarrassing one.
Is that what it
by
is?
getting rid of by getting rid of the one who's dishonoring the whole family. Ta-da!
How did I not know that that's what it is?
Honor restored.
It's such a simple explanation, and my brain had never put it together.
So yeah, here's the thing. So yes, she had some racy, at least by Pakistani standards, photos.
She didn't have her face covered?
Nor
covered.
her cleavage.
She had cleavage.
There was cleavage
that was on display.
There was sexy makeup.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing that she did. So she would post things that were like, she called herself a feminist, which, there you go. That's probably enough right there.
Yeah.
But one of the deciding factors, one of the big blows to her family's honor, was when she posted pictures of herself and a man named Mufti Abdul Kavi, a senior member of Pakistan's Islamic clergy.
Oh.
This is a guy who like he's on the committee to decide when Ramadan begins and ends officially and all that sort of thing.
That's quite the committee to be on.
Like the moon, I don't remember what they call it. It was something like the moon gazers or the moon watchers or whatever. 'Cause
Really?
It's on a lunar cycle or whatever.
So he knows the minute that Ramadan starts.
Right, exactly.
Okay, all
yeah,
right.
this is or he tells the rest of the world, but not so much anymore because he got himself booted after enough pictures with this little hottie. I started appearing on Facebook or Instagram, and part of it was that she was like, she kind of called him out for eating with or drinking with her during the day.
During Ramadan?
During Ramadan.
What?
So she was. I mean,
This guy decides when Ramadan starts, or is part of the decision-making process.
Right.
And he can't even be bothered to, abstain?
Yeah, a little bit of a shit show over there. So
okay, so wait a second.
So she's clearly a
he steps
provocateur.
down, and she's dead.
Yeah, exactly. Well, obviously. that's how that works. So, yes, her brother went on the run, got caught.
Or he did get caught?
Got caught, yeah.
Good. What? Okay, so this is a cultural thing.
Yeah.
Maybe not something that's like too many people are too excited about anymore. I don't know. But what's the official stance in Pakistan? Like,
well, it's against the law.
To honor kill?
To honor kill. To
Okay.
kill. To murder is still against the law.
But is it a
I'm guessing
is there
that
lesser punishment?
if it doesn't get a lot of publicity, I'm guessing a lot of it gets swept under the rug.
Or if it's rural.
Right, exactly. This is what I'm saying. But this one, who knows what'll happen? It'll be interesting to watch because maybe an example will be made, and it'll have a chilling effect on the killing of people for honor. And then they'll just turn back to the old ways, which are the good ways, which is throwing acid in their face or whatever.
Honor acid throwing.
So good.
Honor disfigurements.
Throwing acid honor. For your honor.
All right. Well, Dan.
Yeah.
Since you started with
Gruesome.
Yeah. I'm going to stick with gruesome.
Ooh.
Talk about Newt Gingrich.
Oh, you had to go to extra gruesome? Rude.
Mr. Big Mouth himself.
Yeah. Well, big head. In
big
fairness, his whole head is
So the whole
enormous.
thing's big. I guess the mouth is proportionate. Mostly
to
the rest of the size of his huge
noggin.
head. He opened that big old mouth this week. And after, because there's stuff going on in the world, Dan.
Sure.
With, what with Nice.
Yeah, guys
know.
driving trucks through people and shootings happening left and right.
And, it feels like the world is a little unstable at the moment.
It does feel like we're...
not the whole world, but there are unstable elements in the world.
Is Mercury in retrograde right now? Is that what's going on?
No, Dan.
We'll talk
Mercury affects mechanical devices more than it does anything else, really. Like
okay.
Machines, computers.
Sure.
If you're having problems with your computer, you could look at Mercury being in retrograde. That could possibly be. But it's usually not people.
Oh, okay.
Right? It doesn't affect...
Well, that one guy, the Nice thing had a truck involved, so there you go.
Touché.
We'll be talking about that Mercury thing later on.
I thought I really won up John that one. So what has happened, of course, now is that the those on the fear-mongering side of things, like Mr. Gingrich, have decided to start saying nasty shit about Islam and casting this whole this whole struggle in the West as Western civilization being in some sort of war with Islam and whatnot. And war. We've talked about this before, like sort of word choice, and that war is a pretty big word to be throwing around a lot of times.
Yeah, especially against a non-state.
Yeah,
against a religion.
I will say ISIS has made that a little bit easier.
Yeah,
if one wanted to.
ISIS has made the whole conversation very complicated.
Yes, but nonetheless, he says Western civilization is in a war. We should frankly test every person here who is of a Muslim background, and if they believe in Sharia, they should be deported. Sharia is incompatible with Western civilization. Modern Muslims who have given up Sharia, glad to have them as a citizen, but we need to be fairly relentless about defining who our enemies are.
So, basically, in America, you're no longer allowed to believe whatever you want to believe. You're only allowed to believe...
You mean the First Amendment? Is that what you're talking about?
What I'm saying is, he's saying there are beliefs now that in his mind expel you from the United States, that disqualify you from living here.
I mean, it depends on which box you check, I suppose, because I don't know how you find out what people really believe.
Right.
Right.
Right. But I mean, the possibility of this, the practical nature of this aside,
right?
Because obviously it's the stupidest idea that has ever been put forward. Because I just like the thought that like he's going to go up to people and be like, "Hey, do you believe in Sharia?" And they're going to be like, "Oh, damn it! I was really hoping you wouldn't ask me." Yes, I do. And then they'd be like, we got you. Oh, you did. Yeah. You got me. Okay, off I go.
Well, I mean, what's interesting here is that Mr. Gingrich does seem to be sort of confusing matters just a little bit. Because even the whole call, for if they believe in Sharia. Well, what do you mean, sir, by believing in Sharia?
Does he even know what Sharia means?
I don't. Well, it means the path or the way or something like that, right?
But I don't know what it directly translates to.
But so, like, the idea of, like, Sharia, Muslims practice Sharia as part of their practice of Islam. That's my understanding.
Yeah,
right?
It means the law of Islam.
So it's the religious laws that they follow, right? Whether you call them Sharia or the 10 Commandments, right?
Yeah,
or whatever Jesus said. What's the difference, really, at the end of the day? Now, what I think he intends to say here is like Sharia law.
Well,
and beyond even Sharia law, believing in that we should be living under a theocracy,
right? Believing that the state should enforce Sharia.
Yes, exactly.
Sharia is
the law of the state.
It is their belief system already. Their belief system already consists of a set of rules, and those rules are called Sharia.
Right.
But what he's talking about is, do they believe that the U.S. government should enforce Sharia on everybody?
Now, I think that's a pretty dangerous belief.
Yes.
I don't know what we do with that if we find people who believe that.
But in this country, you're allowed to believe whatever you want to believe.
Unless it's communism. In the
unless it's the unpopular shit. Unless it's anything.
Unless it's McCarthy era.
Right. Unless it's something that political people can use to scare their constituents into voting for them.
Right.
And then...
But no, I mean, during the Red Scare, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess people weren't deported.
No, but...
I know people lost jobs.
I would say that the closest thing to this is the internment of Japanese people.
But that wasn't a belief. That was just their...
It's just an association. This is the same thing. If you're associated with people that we're scared of...
Right.
We're going to either lock you up or kick you out, or we're...
Yeah, it does. You're right. It feels more... It smacks of the Japanese issue a little bit more.
Yeah. And and by the way, in case anyone is out there listening is unclear, the internment of Japanese people during World War II that the U.S. did, that was wrong. That was a bad thing that we did.
You really felt the need to
spell that out? I just want to be clear that for future questions like, well, should we round up Muslims and make them pass some sort of oath or test or whatever?
Right.
The answer is no. The answer to that question is no, that's not what we do.
This is kind of the thing that just has never worked in the history of the planet.
Right.
Thing.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
And every time we do it, 50 years later, we're shitheads about it. Like 50 years later, holy shit, we did that? Like, this is the kind of thing that leads to a Holocaust.
Right.
This is the kind of thinking that leads to that sort of thing.
So the question is, do you want to be spending all that money on monuments?
Right. Right. Yeah. And possible reparations, but probably not, because we don't really do that.
No. But, maybe there'll be... I mean, I enjoyed Schindler's List. Maybe there could be another, really good movie that
just
comes...
imagine the films and books that could come of this. Just imagine. Good Lord. All right, I'm moving us on.
I think we're robbing Western civilization of a real artistic opportunity in the next couple decades.
Think of the literature, people. The literature.
Memoirs.
Oh.
Amazing memoirs.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, we just got George Takei's big musical, a Broadway musical from the internment. Who knows what kind of great entertainment we're missing out on by not committing more atrocities as a country. Who knows? All right, I'm moving on. I'm getting a little closer to home here.
All right.
So this is two stories that I'm sort of mushing into a single story for your listening pleasure.
Smushing them together, Dan.
The name Jeffs will be spoken frequently. We've got two Jeffs stories. Now, Warren Jeffs, you may recall, was the and is still the leader of the FLDS, the Fundamentalist Church of Latter-day Saints.
He's still technically their prophet.
I think so. Yeah.
Really?
He's just profiting from jail. Wow. Not profiting, but doing prophet work.
He might be profiting.
He might.
Who knows what he's selling?
Who knows? Well, if he is, a group of former members of his church are wanting some of those profits. There's a lawsuit against him, arguing that. Oh, but not just against him. So there's already been a lawsuit against him.
Oh. Okay.
Now there's a lawsuit against his law firm. Now the law firm in Utah that had long handled, and I did not know. I am, as a Utahn, I'm aware of this law firm. The name always rings a bell. I did not know that they represented the FLDS church.
Who?
Snow, Christensen, and Martineau.
Yes, I know the name.
Yeah,
they're underwriters on
one of the local PBS
or NPR station.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Huh. So yes,
interesting. Okay,
that law firm apparently worked for a long time for those guys. Now they, as a law firm, are being sued.
What?
The claim is that they created a veneer of legality that helped the leaders of the church
that's what lawyers
perpetuate
do, right?
abuses, perpetrate.
Isn't that why you hire a lawyer?
Yeah.
Is to look out for your legal interests.
Yeah. But they're saying that these people are claiming that they created a smokescreen of legal fog.
So they were well-paid lawyers,
right? Exactly. That allowed some horrible things to happen. To wit, horrible things not unlike things that Warren's brother Lyle. Was going to be tried for. He was under arrest, awaiting trial for let's see. All the stuff that he does. I don't have it pulled up right here. But I mean, it's usually the same old things like marrying children off to old men and
getting married to young children,
slave labor, actually child labor, sort of thing. Anyway, so he's and also let's not forget that polygamy is still illegal in this country.
Yeah.
So there's that. Anyway, Lyle Jeffs is at large. In large part because he had one of those wristbands, those ankle bracelets, those tracking things.
Yeah.
So he could be under house arrest and not be in jail. Apparently, he squirreled his way out of it. Apparently,
really?
And they're saying he used something like he used olive oil or something and got himself out of that.
Wow.
Thing and is now on the lam.
Olive oil will do it?
Well, apparently, I mean, they managed to make it work. So get him to clamp it on loose, and then
Jesus Christ,
stretch. Apparently, it was clearly tampered with, but not so much so because if you cut them or whatever, they alert.
So you want to
authorities.
What causes swelling of your feet? Too much salt intake? What would cause you to get your ankles all swollen?
Right.
That's what you need to do first.
When they're putting it on.
When they fit it, yeah.
And then that goes down, and then you put it in cold water. and then
A little bit of olive oil.
get that olive oil out and.
A little salt.
Do you think it was consecrated olive
lemon
oil?
juice? Probably.
They were doing a blessing on it.
Yes. Brother Lyle,
In the name of,
consecrate this oil and we'll get
by the
this
holy
off.
Melchizedek priesthood which we hold, we say unto your ankle, shrink down, baby. We need this bracelet off. Oh,
That's a miracle. I bet it's being told as a miracle.
It is a
The
miracle.
miracle of the slippery ankle.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
The miracle of the insufficient heels. Just comes right off.
Does he have a weak chin as well?
Probably. I don't even have a picture of him.
Yeah, maybe. All right. All right, Dan.
Yeah, what do you got?
More, not just drop the F off of the front.
Uh-oh.
Just some LDS news.
The real LDS.
The LDS.
The downtown church.
Yep. Corporate church.
Yeah.
So yeah, the real thing here, folks. They're very concerned about their public image
Yes, they are.
constantly. And they pay people a lot of money to like monitor and such things and to promote them, right?
Yes, indeed.
Well, I guess they must have felt that that whole Meet the Mormons was a big grand success from a couple years ago.
They're wrong.
They made a film that featured it was 6 Latter-day Saints and their families from various cultures and careers. So
they even had some black folks in it. There
was a Nepalese engineer and humanitarian.
Yeah.
There was the head football coach at the U.S. Naval Academy. There was a Costa Rican kickboxer.
Oh.
There was an Atlanta academic counselor. A missionary mom from Utah.
Do you guys hear how diverse this church is?
And Dan, they also included the story, I did not know this, of Gail Halvorsen, the Beehive State's famous candy bomber from the Berlin airlift in the 1940s.
I don't know anything about that.
You don't know about the candy bomber?
No.
Oh, he dropped candy on the children of Germany.
Right, I did know about that. That's right. You say bomber these days, I just think bombs.
Anyway, so that was all included in that film. Well, they're doing a follow up because they need more stories of diversity within their ranks, even though we know they're all white.
They literally, people understand. This church is white. It is a church of white people for white people, all about white people. But boy, do they love it when they get and also Latino people.
There are a lot of Latinos.
They count less, I think, to the Mormons, but they have a lot of them
in the official count.
Yeah,
they count everyone as a whole person.
Oh, definitely.
These people count them
That's
as
true.
whole
That's true.
people. Anyway, so the new film is going to feature a horse trainer and his wife in Morgan, Utah.
Okay, yeah.
A Tokyo-based singing group.
Okay.
I like that. And an Italian convert who launched a homeless service in Las Vegas. Isn't that just nice?
That is so nice.
All the vignettes this time feature married couples.
Oh, because
but,
that is the appropriate state for a human being to be in.
Yeah, it's the only in God's eyes. It's the only acceptable.
If you're a grown up, get yourself hitched. That's all there is to it.
Well, if you're a single man of 26, you're a menace to society.
Yes,
Isn't that
indeed.
Brigham Young's line?
Probably.
I'm pretty sure that was.
And if you're and believe me, if you're a single woman who's over 24, you're a sweet spirit, but something's wrong.
Yeah.
Desperately, horribly wrong.
But what is this? What is this desperate attempt to seem normal, Dan?
Propaganda, my friend.
But
they need it.
Don't you?
They're weirdos.
I just know that as like a former missionary for the goddamn LDS Church,
right?
We would keep certain details about the church very specifically from anyone that we were talking to about the church, right? And that was just how like the discussions were set up,
right?
And like I remember there was this this guy who had been a member of the church for a couple years, and when he found out about garments, and he'd been around for a few years.
These are the underwear that the Mormons wear.
Right, exactly, the temple garments. The look on his face and the absolute confusion and almost like the sense of like, what is going on? How could I not have known about this?
Right.
And B, who are these people?
Right. What have I gotten myself into?
And so why not just be honest and upfront, find the people that's going to appeal to,
right?
You know, who you really are. Why this bait and switch thing that they love to do?
They love it. Well, I mean,
they're desperate.
Don't dress for the job you want, or that you have. You dress for the job that you want. Don't act like the church you are. Act like the church you want other people to think you are.
Because it's not even the church they aspire to be. They're not in some like fast track to change.
No, they don't like change. Change is bad.
They're so annoying to me. But anyway, so if we should go down to the Legacy Theater, Dan, and see this.
Oh my God!
Sounds delightful.
Never.
It's probably going to be a regular feature now at the Legacy. They're going to be rotating in stories.
It's going to be intolerable, and I'll tell you why. It's going to be very slick. It'll be totally produced. It'll be really well produced.
Stirring music,
and that will mean it will just be boring. There will be nothing. It'll just be these stories about nice people.
Yeah.
And who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
If it were badly produced, or if it were, they're trying one thing but they're going to achieve another thing, if I didn't know that they constantly spend millions on PR, I might be excited to go see it.
Right.
Because, like, the shit that people, that like, lesser churches produce is amazing, and I'll see that any day of the week. But these guys they're too slick at this point. It's not. However, I will gladly anytime go back down to Temple Square, and where the Legacy Theater is, it's surrounded by the shittiest wax sculptures you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
So, like, there are good things. There's still shitty stuff there, so that's good. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the land of Kentucky. Home of the Derby and bourbon.
Yeah.
And the Durban. That's when you go to the Derby and you drink bourbon. Or the Burby. Anyway, Kentucky judge has enforced what the Christians want.
Yeah?
Has refused to do a wedding. Now, this is interesting. It's not just a gay wedding. You'd think, well, yes, of course, the gay weddings, they're all going to refuse the gay weddings. He refused the wedding of two non-believers who
are gay as well?
No.
Oh.
No, they're straight. They just wanted a service that didn't have God in it. That was their big request.
And that's what they said to the judge, and the judge was like,
the judge sent them.
God.
So the judge informed them the day before it was supposed to happen. The day before.
What a dick!
I will be unable to perform your wedding ceremony. I include God in my ceremonies, and I won't do one without.
Well, that's good, Judge.
Right. So here's the thing. Now, I haven't seen the backlash. I assume there is some on the right. I assume that the Christians are going to make much hay of this and turn him into a superhero or whatever. But here's the thing. He's a justice of the peace. He is a representative of the state. You're not allowed to do that. You can't. So the FFRFs involved, they're saying
watch out, Judge.
They literally said, quote, "Yeah, you have no right to impose your personal religious beliefs on people seeking to be married. Governments in this nation, including the Commonwealth of Kentucky, are secular. They do not have the power to impose religion on citizens. The bottom line is that by law, there must be a secular option for people seeking to get married. In Trigg County, you are that secular option." To which I say, darn tootin'. So anyway, but when I read it, what I was concerned about, what will happen is that the Christians will now say, "See, They're now forcing us to do marriages that we don't want to do.
Not ministers.
Right.
Not ministers. Somebody who's in a position a public position.
Right.
That performs marriages.
This is a public. Yes, you are a government employee.
Yes,
we as a public have hired you.
Different,
very different thing.
Different thing entirely.
No one's trying to make Reverend so and so do a gay marriage.
No, that's like 2 or 3 down on the list.
Yeah, exactly.
We got to get through this stuff first,
right?
Before we do that.
We're on phase 1 here, people. We're not all the way.
Quit acting like we're on phase 3.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, Dan.
Yes.
There's an election coming up.
Oh, for what?
For elections.
Oh, okay.
People have to vote, Dan.
Yes, they do.
Well, down in Palm Beach County, down in Florida.
Yeah.
The home of Boca Raton.
Oh, yes.
Famous Boca Raton.
The mouth of the rat.
Yes. Their election supervisor has decided to move a polling station from a mosque to a nearby public library.
Oh my God. I thought you were going to say church, and I was like, oh, that's going to not be and then I was, a mosque.
A mosque. Well, of course, they are also using, Christian churches and synagogues.
I have many times had to vote in a Christian church.
See, I never have.
Yeah.
I don't know how I've avoided it. It's always been a public school or a lobby of an apartment building.
Or a library. Those are things.
I've never voted in a library, but I know that happens.
My current polling place is a library. But
really?
Yeah.
Oh. Day Riverside.
Yeah. Anyway.
Awesome.
So, but moving. So, did they give a reason why they're moving it out of the mosque?
Well, some people have complained about voting in a mosque.
Well, of course they have,
and
because they're dipshits.
And so Bassem Al-Halabi, who's the president of the mosque, said that it was the county. The election supervisor's idea in the first place to to set up the mosque as a polling station.
Yeah.
And he says, you know what? If Muslims are good to vote in a church and in a synagogue, then Christians and Jews are also good to vote in an Islamic center.
Yeah.
Rightly so. However, what I want to say is, why the fuck do we have elections? Do we hold elections in these places to begin with?
Anywhere near these things? Yes.
I don't. I wouldn't like having to waltz into an LDS chapel.
No, it's not fun
to vote.
Don't worry, it's not the chapel though. It's the gym.
Well, yeah.
All the LDS,
the whole building.
But all the LDS wards have basketball standards.
I guess that makes sense that they would do it in the cultural hall.
Right. And, technically I think churches are supposed to, cover up any religious iconography in their church if you vote there. But still, it's just the fact of going into the place, it feels like it's making a statement. It feels like you're supposed to vote a certain way it just smells wrong.
Here's the deal. I should be able to choose whether I go into a church or not.
Maybe.
I don't even want to go in the fucking thing.
No.
Right?
Right.
Library, okay. Well, that's different. It's a public space. It's a public building, right? Where everybody is legitimately welcomed.
Right.
Right. That's not necessarily the case in a church. The visitors welcome, right? But really diverse ideas.
Right.
Are welcome. No, it's not. It's not an open space.
No,
and just the fact that it's just church. Fuck church.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and as a gay man, I imagine it would be extra weird, extra unwelcoming going into something.
Well, and who are all the volunteers going to be?
Right.
At least when you're at the library or at a school, it's just people from the neighborhood, but you don't know. I assume that, even at a church, there's going to be volunteers who aren't from that church. You would assume.
But it just feels wrong. It does. It feels wrong. It feels wrong.
I don't want to have to go to fucking LDS.
If there was ever, if we could ever ask Christians to just look at their own behavior and say, now imagine if someone else felt that way about you.
Yeah.
But they don't. That doesn't work on them.
Yeah. No,
they are magically immune to that kind of thinking.
Yeah, it's part of the game, isn't it?
Part of their charm. Anyway, hey, if you guys want to tell us a story about where you voted and how it made you feel, go ahead and write into us. podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click like.
And while you're there on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It's a closed group. It will take a second to get let in.
Yeah. All right.
Quick break.
Okay. But I'm going to send us into the break with a quick note about Loot Crate.
Oh, yeah.
This is lootcrate.com. You get a shit ton of cool geek stuff.
Yes.
T-shirts.
Yes.
Toys,
pins, magnets.
Surprising stuff.
Yeah.
They're going to surprise you every month. It's a subscription service. You sign up for it, and they will surprise you with fun things more than what you pay for.
Steal of a deal.
The value is double.
Be a savvy consumer, people.
Right? Exactly. And do so by going to lootcrate.com/TGIAtheist. So LOOTCRATE.com/TGIAtheist and get your geek on.
And now, quick break. This is Pat Robertson.
Yes, it is.
Okay, Pat, this is from Eugene, who says, excuse me, my wife and I are lifelong 700 Club members. We often hear how the Republicans are so against abortion and Democrats are so pro-choice. But this was not the case on the Roe v. Wade decision. 3 Nixon appointees, Blackmun, Powell, Berger, and 2 Eisenhower appointees, Brennan and Stewart, comprised a Republican majority, even without the 2 Democrats, Marshall and Douglas, voting. Why are these men not called out for the genocide against the unborn? Why did they all live to be such an old age after committing such a despicable act that has brought a curse upon the land? Please set the record straight.
Well, you'll have to ask God why he didn't kill them. I'm not in charge of the death or life of the Supreme Court judges, so it's in God's hands whether they live a long life. But that thing was called Blackmun's abortion, and Blackmun indeed was a Nixon appointee. You're absolutely right. It was an incredibly bad decision. It was based on no science, nothing that was there, but they picked up stuff from Planned Parenthood and other population. The wealthy people of our country wanted to make sure that the black and the less fortunate didn't outbreed us. So they wanted to make sure the population of those people stayed small. I know that sounds gross, but that's what they believed. And then they had Margaret Sanger, who was saying that black people are inferior, that southern white people are inferior, that European Protestants are inferior. I mean, she went all the way down the line. She wanted eugenics. And so they bought into that, but it was a horrible decision. And you're absolutely right. Being Republican or being Democrat does not mean the Supreme Court is going to go along with righteousness. And in that case, it certainly didn't. All right.
You know what?
What?
I think you got this wrong.
Oh.
Being Republican does mean you're righteous.
Right. Oh, well, obviously, that's the truth. It's amazing to me. Here's what's funny. This person, whoever wrote into them, by the way, first of all, I just want to paint a quick picture for you. The woman and the man, the woman and Pat Robertson, whose voices you just heard, in that clip are dressed exactly alike.
Twins!
There's something delightful about the fact that they are twinners. Literally wearing like the same colored jacket, a white shirt, same color. It's amazing.
So amazing, Dan.
Anyway, yeah.
So amazing.
I just love that people, like when they talk about the the Supreme Court, and this was they did this horrible thing. They committed a genocide, essentially, as though the job of the Supreme Court is to be like the rulers of our morality. Well, that's not their job. Their job is not to decide what's moral and what isn't.
Right.
And that's just a fundamental misunderstanding of the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And what their job is. Anyway, there
but
you go.
Sure wish they were.
Sure. Well,
or that they did.
It
would be such a much better country to live in.
If only.
If people would just be a little bit more moral the way that I'm moral.
Right.
That's always best.
Only everybody understood that my morality is the correct morality, and their morality is immoral, and they're awful, awful humans.
It's true, Dan.
Oh,
I'm very aware of this fact.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we had we didn't get a lot of people correspondence. That's the word I was looking for. I was going to say discourse, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right. How about discorrespondence?
Discord.
We did have we had some of that for sure. Frederick wrote into us, "Hey guys, I was listening on your latest discussion of the DMV and the whole colander thing. This is to remind folks. This was us talking about people wearing their colanders as good members of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster to get their driver license picture taken." Frederick says, "I don't really know anything about the DMV and their rules, but this has got me thinking. If someone is suffering from OCD and simply has to wear a beret in public, what would the DMV allow this person to wear a beret on his driver's license? OCD is obviously not religious, but you have to admit that I don't know why I simply have to sounds pretty damn near religious, or vice versa for that matter. I don't suffer from OCD, so I really don't know, but I'm guessing resisting OCD could potentially cause distress on pretty much the same scale as resisting religious compulsions." I thought that was an interesting point. I feel like I would rather accommodate someone's actual psychological issues than someone's imaginary friend.
Both are psychological issues.
Well, perhaps. But like, yeah, so like your 2,000-year-old Bronze Age religion asks you to wear, X hat and Y hairstyle and, whatever. That seems less legitimate to me than a very severe mental disorder.
Than a person of science diagnosing you with something.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's actually very interesting. I'm just glad.
I don't know how it works in the real world with such things, but it's an interesting point.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm glad I don't have that particular OCD thing, because I would
have to wear a beret.
I look terrible in berets.
No, Dan. No. I think it would be right at home on your head.
You think I look good in a beret?
I think it would fit with who you are in a lot of ways.
Très bien. Oui, monsieur. This beret, it is, how you say, it complements my cigarette and my all the various cheeses that I am so fond of.
While you brush your mustache with your ring finger.
Yeah, indeed. And look snootily down on others. I'm afraid that your hat is completely lacking. I cannot even look at it. Anyway, do we have any voicemail? We didn't even talk about this.
No, we're not playing any voice. No.
Okay.
To be honest, I didn't even check down.
Well, that's okay.
on me.
This is a P.S. This show is late. I just got back from a trip. I'm right off the plane. There was going to be we were going to have maybe a guest host this week, but that didn't work out. So
fell through kind of at the last minute.
So sorry it's late, and sorry if we're not fully prepared. We did work hard.
We're as prepared as we are normally, Dan.
Shh. No, normally we put in just countless hours before we do.
Well, normally I do at least check the voicemails to make sure that
all right,
and I just forgot this time.
All right,
but we do have some new donors.
Oh, good.
New patrons, I suppose I should say, on Patreon.
Oh, thank God.
We have Seth, Courtney, Angela, Jonathan Areola of the TDTF Pod.
That's a podcast. He's been contacting us, but yeah, so
Cool.
So go
Thank you,
go ahead and
Jonathan.
check out his podcast.
Yeah.
TDTF, which I think stands for Too Deep, Too Fast.
Awesome. All right. And then this one just says redacted in brackets. I don't know what they originally wrote. If Patreon is like, if it's like,
Well, D's
censoring
nuts,
it.
D's nuts was taken, so
Yeah, but they might have said something really mean. And then, Dan, there's a spider. Get it off me.
yay!
They took our challenge.
I love it.
And then Adrian.
Oh,
Yeah, so-
that's fun. You guys can make Frank say almost anything just by going to Patreon and becoming a new subscriber on our. If you go to thankgodimatheist.com and click on our Patreon button,
Yeah.
you can become a new subscriber and just put your name as whatever you want it to be, and Frank has to
I
say it.
have to say it. I have to thank you.
Which,
Thank you, guys.
Which
we
you-
didn't say yet. Thank you so much for your
oh
support,
my God!
guys.
Thank you so much.
This
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And if you become a new donor, just know that we will love you more than our non-donor listeners. So there you go.
Yeah.
So
All right.
so there.
Okay.
Also, by the way, if you can't afford to be a donor, I just want to throw this out there. We haven't put out a call for this for a long time, but if you rate us, give us a 5-star rating on your listening app of choice, whether it be iTunes or Stitcher or whatever, that's very helpful to us too. So there are ways that you can help without if you can't afford a financial
Yeah,
contribution.
it's all very helpful. So thank you.
So thanks for that. There are atheists in the world. You and I are two of them. People who do not believe in a god or gods.
Yeah.
We've abandoned that silly superstition.
Lead peaceful existences. Peace of mind
Right.
with the lack of like just fucked up thoughts in your head all the time. Different fucked up thoughts. I will say
Various and
that.
sundry.
I will say my thoughts are probably equally fucked up, but
Just totally different, on a different
just
level.
not as delusional.
Right. And you don't
maybe.
and you question them more. You get to question all of your fucked up thoughts instead of just having to believe them.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You and I both sort of stumbled on the same thing, which was a study that came out in Australia that just took a look at of 52 different people aged 18 to 85 and just asked them questions and of various ethnic and religious backgrounds. Asked them questions about their belief systems. Many of them were non-believers in terms of a god. Many of them were atheists or, agnostics or whatever they want to call themselves. And yet many of those people still believed that some sort of life after death occurs. Some sort of continuation of their spirit, of their essence.
Yeah, that's a nice thought, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a nice thought. Maybe.
Well,
I mean, the thing is, the thought of not existing sounds yucky. I don't think any of us like the thought of no longer existing.
Right. But at least, if nothing else, there's not a lot of risk in not existing.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of risk about what kind of weird, screwy afterlife you might find yourself in.
Yeah. I mean, even the believers who believe that they know what happens after death, they know that a bunch of people get the shit end of the stick. Like, of course, they're going to go to heaven and be on, and live with God in the Chuck E. Cheese of the afterlife.
Yeah.
But the bad people, and we don't necessarily know who all they are, but we know who some of them are.
Yeah.
Burning for eternity.
Forever, Dan.
Torture forever, which seems like a really strong punishment for shit that you did for like 80 years during this little tiny slice of eternity.
It probably wasn't even that shitty.
It probably wasn't that bad.
What got you there probably wasn't really that bad. There are bad things.
There was literally only one Hitler.
Yeah.
There's only been one of him ever. There have been some other guys who have done other shitty things.
Yeah, not on his scale, but there have been some pretty fucked up people.
It's like you get one every decade or so who's that bad.
Yeah.
And then everybody else that goes to hell is like, yeah, you fucked the wrong people, or maybe a murderer here and there, but in large part.
But why punishment? I don't
Right.
get it. Like, at least I will say, and we've said this before on the show, at least the Mormons have it a little bit figured out that you just kind of just cast out.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not punishment. Your punishment is your own anguish, right?
Yes.
It's not you being ripped limb from limb.
Right, and then reattached and then burned or scalding hot pokers
and then moved over to that ring of hell.
Right, exactly.
That thing happens to your eyeballs.
Okay, go to the drowning room now. No, at least it's not that. Although that guy kind of makes me happy. I kind of want to meet that
guy
guy
with the
now.
clipboard and hell.
All right, it's time for you to go over to burning again. So, do you want brimstone or just fire? How can we make your torture more helpful today? It's a childish thought.
Awful.
But
It's
here's
just
the thing, though. There are all these atheists who believe, either in a heaven. Here's the great thing. Most atheists who believe in heaven don't believe in hell. Like, they've just abandoned the ugly side of it.
Well, I mean, what kind of God
Well, yes.
would have a hell?
Would do that. Yeah. The concept of hell is for babies. That is a
small children.
That is a
Keep them in line.
stupid
And what a horrible thing
child
to
belief.
tell a child.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's basically child
they're
abuse.
Decent lies to tell a child,
Sure.
even though I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
I don't believe that we should probably tell our kids about, Santa Claus. But it's fun, and
It's
if people do
fun,
it, whatever.
it's harmless.
The first year they ask if Santa's for real, you don't lie to them.
You just be like, no.
That's what my parents did.
Yeah.
Look how I turned out.
Right. Exactly. So anyway, I think you and I, what we really wanted to talk about was just, where do we stand with, the supernatural, with beliefs that, because when I think of atheists, the picture that I paint for myself is like very logical, very reasonable, evidence-demanding people. Science-based smarty pantses.
Yes.
That's just bullshit. Why am I doing that? There are plenty of dumb atheists. There are plenty of atheists who don't like science. And they're not
They just don't
dumb.
believe in God.
There's a million different kinds of atheists.
Plenty of dipshit atheists.
Right. I'm one of them. I'm a dipshit. I don't believe in a lot of these superstitions, but I'm a dipshit in so many ways that I can't be too judgy about any of this.
So we put together a little list of sort of supernatural-ish, sort of superstitious crap.
Right. Great. So we're definitely, I know that there are several listeners out there right now really bracing themselves because they're going to hear something that they know that we're about to say.
If your thing is on this list, right, let us know.
Yeah.
I want to hear from you.
Yeah, call us out. Tell us what it's about.
We're couching this all in like we're dissing on it, but let us know.
Sure.
I don't believe it. I think that will come as no big surprise.
We don't promise not to make fun of you.
Okay. So here's one, Dan.
Yeah.
That pops up a bit.
Okay.
Psychics.
Oh, yes. The
Psychics.
The Long Island medium.
Yeah. Great example.
She's got to be real, right?
Well, she does all those great tricks,
She has been proven time and again to be real.
She knows stuff about her audience members.
She knows, like, for instance, that someone in this section of the audience lost someone whose name starts with a G.
Damn.
How did she know that?
I know. It's amazing. So psychics, I think it's interesting. Because,
I personally know at least one atheist who believes in psychics and mediums and stuff.
Would you go to a psychic just for
like fun?
Shits and giggles?
I don't know that I'd enjoy it. Here's the thing. If I went to a psychic, first of all, I have gone to a psychic.
Oh, have you?
Not gone to. When I was living in upstate New York for a summer, I went to a place called Lilydale, which is a community for psychics and for the training of psychics.
Yeah.
It all had a very spooky feel. May have been in part because we 2 days before we went to the Sixth Sense. No, was it that? Yeah, it was that. Anyway, we were in a spooky mood. We decided to go to this psychic community, and everything was there wasn't much happening, but there was free readings, because these are all there are mediums and psychics in training as well as just.
So they know they have the gift, but they don't have it worked out.
They need
yet.
to develop the gift. They need to improve on.
So there's
gift.
actual classes in bullshitting your clients.
Well, indeed,
techniques
or
are taught.
That's probably. I see. Here's the wacky thing. I believe that most psychics believe that they have psychic abilities.
You don't think they're charlatans? I
think that they are charlatans, but I think that they believe that the tricks that they use get them to some sort of truth. I actually believe that.
Okay.
Or at least some of them do.
Okay.
Anyway, so we go to this reading by psychics in training at the Stump. There's the mystical Stump.
Okay.
There. And one of the ladies calls on me and starts saying, I sense it's a grandmother, and both of my grandmothers had passed away at that point. So I was like, yeah, okay, which one? But I didn't say that. And here's the thing, I gave her nothing.
Right.
Psychics rely on you giving feedback.
Right. Which one would have told her both are dead?
Right.
In essence. Right.
Well, I would have given her feedback like,
because she was like dead grandmother.
Right. And I was like, okay. And she was like, I get the sense that she didn't approve of something that you were doing or of your choice of profession. And I was like, no, that doesn't sound right at all. She's like, I get the sense that, and just know that she is comfortable with it now, and she supports you. And I was like, okay, that was a bunch of bullshit. Right. That was only bullshit. And that's the thing. If I went to a psychic...
But see, you went to one that was in training.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Like, you're not really one to judge, Dan.
Yeah, that's true.
You haven't been to a fully certified psychic.
Yeah, exactly.
With all the credentials that psychics get.
Right.
From having gone to Lilydale.
To Lilydale, that's right.
Right.
I mean, I guess the idea is... I've done a little bit of research on how psychics do their readings, and like cold reading techniques and all of these different things that they use, whether they're conscious of it or not. So they wouldn't be able to do nothing with me.
Okay. How about when it's dark and you bump in the night?
Ooh.
Do you feel a little...
It's spooky. I'll tell you what. I'll be honest with you. Like, if I feel there are times when when I'm in a like dark, spooky place, it's scary.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It's a little creepy. You're just like,
what's gonna jump out at me?
Yeah, it's kind of.
What's that shadow?
Now, in part, that's like, I mean, what we're talking about there is like an evolutionary imperative to be afraid in the dark because things can kill you in the dark.
Right.
Like. In the wild,
right,
or whatever.
But are you gonna get sucked up into a haunting?
Yeah, I mean I've wondered about that. Like if I went on one of those shows that it's about that throws you. We were talking about the show, just some show that you were watching on MTV.
Oh, MTV, yeah, it was a good show.
There was just like about you camera up some people and you throw them into a spooky thing and make noises. And I wonder how I would have responded to that. I think I could probably have logicked my way into like not caring. I think I might be able to just go, oh, they're just going to try and scare me,
and quickly logicked your way out of being on TV.
Right, exactly. I would be the worst for that. Except that if there were other people in there, I might get a kick out of like scaring them.
But that's not what they want to show on TV.
No,
they don't want to show you being. Getting a good one in on somebody else, but like No,
I'm starting to sound like the most boring person ever now.
Well, you're the one talking. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you're the one saying it, Dan.
It's true.
What about tarot cards? Have you ever had a tarot reading? I've had a tarot reading.
You gave me a tarot reading once.
I did? No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. You remember when you were going through your tarot phase? You were all into it. I don't know.
Well, I had like a little. Somebody had given me a little deck.
It was years and years ago,
and I thought it was like kind of charming, and funny, and I didn't believe it was like real. I just kind of liked the cards for some reason. I'm not sure what that was.
Well, here's the thing. This is another thing that you get. Like I was talking to a friend of mine on Facebook is constantly posting about things like Mercury being in retrograde and tarot cards and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, do you really believe that stuff? Yeah. And he was like, I think of it as symbolism. And, you know, the cards just tell you stuff that, you know, you just interpret it in a way that means something to you.
You like, if you do like the reading, right, and you follow all the little steps and you put the cards in the right places and blah, 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 and what does it mean here and what is it, you know, all that shit.
Right.
You skim over the stuff that doesn't apply. Oh, okay, I don't know what that means. Oh, well, yeah, I am kind of, you know, dealing with something. You know, it's more like just a little mirror that gets held up.
Right.
What I realized very quickly is, well, I can also just have an ounce of self-awareness.
Right.
Right.
Right. But it's the same with astrology.
It was really a fun thing. It was a fun party trick more than anything.
Yeah.
People would come around and be like, ooh, let's get out the tarot cards.
Right.
You know.
I guess
this was like 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah. I just wonder about, like, how much do people believe and how much do people just enjoy the fun of the thing? And if you're doing it just to enjoy the fun of it, but you're not consciously disbelieving it at the same time, are you putting yourself in a dangerous trap? Not dangerous. Sometimes it's dangerous.
Yeah. We've talked about afterlife.
Yeah.
Here's one that I think is really interesting.
Sure.
There's all sorts of little superstitions out there, you know, don't walk under a ladder, black cat, breaking a mirror, all those things.
Sure.
Those all for me seem really quite easy to dismiss.
Sure.
The idea of jinxing yourself, though, I think this is something that people hold on to.
Does it get you? Do you
no,
do you worry
because
about being jinxed?
Because I consciously worked through, you know, the whole idea of jinxing.
This would be
to
the
point
idea
now
of
when
like,
somebody says, "Oh, jinx" or whatever, or you're gonna jinx yourself. I'm like, that's not real.
Right.
I just look at them, and because I feel like there needs to be someone in the world saying to people, "That's dumb.
That's not a thing.
How would me saying that affect the universe's decision about whether that thing happens or not?"
Right. So what we're talking about is like the sort of cultural idea that, like, if you say hopefully this good thing is going to happen. Oh, don't say that. You'll jinx yourself.
Right.
It won't happen.
I really hope I get into that school.
Don't say it. Don't talk about it.
Yeah.
You'll jinx it.
Yeah. Yeah, and yet
it's so weird.
It's why? Yeah. So you say it, you say something good, you say something hopeful, you say whatever, and then like some malicious god comes along and makes sure that it doesn't happen?
I mean, and I think some people also think that if you say something bad, you can jinx yourself. You know, if you say a bad thing might happen, then now you're going to make it happen.
You can't win.
Which brings up another superstition.
You can't speculate.
Right, which brings up another superstition that people believe, which is the power of intention. Like, how like the what was it? The
Secret.
The Secret.
Yeah, Oprah's big thing.
Yeah,
that's how she got her whole empire. That was The Secret.
By wishing to the universe.
Yeah.
And the universe wished back and said, "Shit, yeah, Oprah, you get all the damn things. You get a car and you get a car."
But how is it a secret? Everybody knows about it.
Well, not only is it not a secret, the real secret is it doesn't work.
You have to be smart and work hard.
You have to be lucky, and you have to like be in the right place at the right time, and you have to work hard, and you have to like think, you have to be apt to the thing. You have to be good
Talent.
at it. Yeah.
Talent. That's good.
These are all things that have to happen.
Oprah was good at saying people's names really loudly when they came on stage.
Right. It's so exciting to hear.
It was clear that she was going to be
She should have a show.
Megastar.
She should just charge like $300 and she just says your name as you walk past her. She just sits in a chair and like,
Well, she
Frank Feldman, and then you don't even get to shake her hand. You just have to walk right past as she says it,
and hope some kind of Comic Con. But
yeah, exactly, and hope that your friend got it on video on their iPhone or whatever.
The day that Oprah Winfrey has to resort to yelling out people's names for $300.
You know, it's
boy,
not,
she's
not doing it for the money. She's doing it to bring joy to the world.
All right, let's see. So there's that. Oh, we talked about superstition in the theater. Did you want to say anything about
you
that?
know what? There is this interesting thing that happens in the theater where there are lots of superstitions that theater people have. And I will say that I obey the superstitions of the theater.
Now, why do you do that?
Well, largely because even though I don't believe in them, other actors do believe in them and can get themselves worked into enough of a tizzy that they'll fuck up on stage.
That someone will die if you say the name of
Macbeth. No, that someone will mess up their lines and make me look bad.
Oh.
No, it's not about me looking bad, but literally people, it's easy to throw an act. It's not easy, but actors have to concentrate, and I don't want them thinking about the fact that someone said Macbeth, you know, or that someone whistled in the theater,
or said good luck,
instead of break a leg, or any of those things. But I will gladly tell young actors the origin of many of those superstitions so that they don't believe in the superstitions anymore. I'll try to take the legs out of the superstition. Like, for instance, you want to know why they don't whistle? Why you're not allowed to whistle?
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know that I've ever even heard that one before.
Yeah, you don't whistle in a theater, but this comes from back when they first started coming up with new ways to change the scenery quickly in a thing. So they would drop in a new backdrop on ropes that would come down, and then suddenly it would be a different scene.
Right.
But the only guys who knew how to rig up a rope system like that were sailors. And sailors would cue each other by whistling across the stage to each other, and then they would know when to drop in the new thing and when to take out, you know.
So if you whistled the wrong thing.
So if you whistled at the wrong time, a new stage would suddenly appear at the wrong moment and
maybe fall on someone.
Right. Or just suddenly, you know, they're trying to have a nice talk in the parlor, and suddenly they're out in the field.
Whoa, that's terrible.
Anyway,
this play took a strange turn.
Yes, indeed. As did this podcast.
And the last one, Dan, we may have... No, we did... Energy.
Just, you know, if you just put the right energy out there...
It's kind of like The Secret.
I'm sending pink light to you, Frank.
Oh, dear God. No, it's not like The Secret.
Yeah, you're gay enough. You don't need any pink light.
Ooh.
You know, it's such a weird thing that atheists who have gone through it's usually a process to become an atheist.
Well, the fascinating thing, though,
yeah.
I've said this before as well, really just means you don't believe in God.
That's the only thing it means.
Why couldn't you have other sort of mystical things that you've held on to that don't require a belief in a God?
Indeed.
Although there has to be some sort of force in the universe, though, to organize these things. You know, you say something good and something bad happens.
Yeah, it does seem like you're just replacing God with a God-like thing
that's incredibly mischievous.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And in many of these cases, it's like something that can do you harm if you're not careful.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, I don't know. I think in the end, what are we encouraging here, Frank? I think for my money, what I'm encouraging is demand more evidence, and also, if you want to believe something, that's not a reason to believe something, and you have to challenge yourself on that point. Am I believing this because I really want it to be true? Or am I believing it because... And also,
But that's how you start believing, Dan.
Right.
You have to want to believe first.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how faith works.
That's how, yeah.
You believe first, and then it's true after, or something. Then you get confirmation.
Well, first you hope. You hope in... And then you hope it's true.
Right.
Then you start believing it's true. And then you start having just this weird blind...
And then it gets confirmed to you.
Everything.
It gets confirmed to you, Frank.
And, yeah.
And that is called confirmation bias. That is called the thing that you already want to believe. You will see all of the reasons to believe it once you do.
Yes.
So look out for that. And then and if you do have proof that we're wrong about one of these things, feel free to write into us. You can write to us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, call in and tell us what big dumb idiots we are, because we don't believe in the secret or something. Go to the Facebook page, kids, and see the good work of Miss Mackenzie at facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join.
Yes. Go to thankgodimatheist.com and click on the Patreon button on the side of the screen, and then you can become a patron and help make this whole thing possible and keep us going.
Indeed. Thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music.
And thanks to our guru of the webs, one Miss Mackenzie, for all of her hard work on the Facebook. And thank you, dearest of listeners, for tuning in yet again.
Bye!